Have you ever felt a mysterious presence in your home, protecting you from dangers you didn't even notice? Those moments when you're about to stumble and somehow regain your balance, or when you feel compelled to check the stove one last time, discovering you'd left it on? These aren't mere coincidences. They are sacred whispers from beyond our physical realm. Padre Pio, blessed with the extraordinary gift of seeing and conversing with angels, revealed that guardian angels don't just follow us individually. Some homes are blessed with their constant protective presence. What you've dismissed as luck or intuition might actually be the loving intervention of a celestial guardian watching over your household, creating an invisible shield around the place you call home. The sacred wisdom Padre Pio shared throughout his life wasn't meant only for those who visited him in San Giovanni Rotondo. His profound understanding of the angelic realm offers us a transformative glimpse into how heaven interacts with our everyday lives, particularly within the sacred space of our homes. Each soul has a guardian angel, he would often say, but some homes have the honor of housing their constant presence. This blessing isn't reserved for the holiest among us. It's available to anyone who creates the conditions for angelic habitation. The signs of this divine presence are often subtle, easily overlooked in our hurried modern lives, yet they speak volumes to those who know what to watch for. Tonight, I will reveal to you the 10 unmistakable signs that Padre Pio taught indicate angelic presence in a home. Before I share these transformative insights that have changed thousands of lives, you must understand something crucial about Padre Pio's teachings on angelic presence. Unlike many modern spiritual concepts that promise instant gratification, Padre Pio's wisdom on guardian angels requires receptivity, faith, and spiritual awareness. He didn't speak of angels as abstract concepts, but as real beings with whom he had daily, tangible interactions. The stigmatist saint would often be seen speaking to what appeared to be empty space, later explaining he was conversing with his guardian angel. If you truly believe these teachings can transform your home into a sanctuary of divine protection, just as they have for countless devotees around the world, pay close attention to each sign I'm about to reveal, for your home may already be blessed in ways you've never realized. The first sign Padre Pio revealed is what he called the mysterious peace, an unexplainable tranquility that envelops certain homes despite external circumstances. You enter your living space after a chaotic day, and suddenly a wave of serenity washes over you. This isn't merely the comfort of familiar surroundings, it's a divine atmosphere that angels create when they dwell in a place. Padre Pio explained that angels emanate the peace of heaven wherever they reside, making it their first gift to a household. Have you noticed how certain areas of your home feel inexplicably calmer than others? Perhaps a specific room where arguments seem to dissolve, or a corner where your mind always clears. This peace transcends logical explanation. It persists even during life's storms, and feels almost tangible, as if you could reach out and touch it. This mysterious peace doesn't depend on perfect circumstances, but remains as a constant undercurrent in angel-inhabited homes. The second sign is what Padre Pio described as protected sleep, a household where nightmares are rare and rest is profound. Guardian angels are especially active during our most vulnerable hours, when our conscious defenses are lowered in sleep. In homes where angels dwell, residents often report waking feeling genuinely restored, having experienced vivid, meaningful dreams, or being mysteriously awakened moments before danger, like smoke from a faulty appliance or an attempted break-in. You might notice that guests comment on how well they slept in your home, or perhaps you've observed that family members who struggle with insomnia elsewhere find peaceful rest under your roof. Padre Pio taught that the angelic influence creates a protective dome over sleeping inhabitants, guarding not just their physical bodies but their dreaming minds. This protection isn't coincidental. It's the intentional vigilance of a celestial being fulfilling its divine purpose in your home. The third sign is what Padre Pio called synchronized coincidences. Those moments when exactly what you need appears precisely when you need it. The phone call that comes just as you were thinking of that person. The unexpected financial gift that arrives the day before an unanticipated bill. The chance encounter with someone who offers the exact solution to your problem. These aren't random strokes of luck, but the orchestrated movements of guardian angels arranging circumstances for your benefit. In homes where angels dwell, these providential alignments happen with striking frequency. You might have dismissed these moments, attributing them to fortunate timing, but Padre Pio would gently correct such thinking. What appears as coincidence to the physical eye, he would say, is revealed as divine orchestration to the spiritual eye. These synchronized moments are your guardian angel's way of reminding you that you are seen, known, and cared for by heaven itself. The fourth sign of angelic presence in your home is what Padre Pio described as the protective instinct, those sudden, unexplainable urges that keep you from harm. Perhaps you felt compelled to take a different route home, only to learn later that your usual path had an accident. Maybe you've had the strong impulse to check on a sleeping child at precisely the moment they needed you, or you've been drawn to secure a window just before an unexpected storm. These protective instincts don't come from nowhere. They are angelic whispers directly to your spirit, bypassing your logical mind. Padre Pio explained that guardian angels communicate most clearly through these subtle promptings, especially in homes where they maintain a constant presence. The frequency and accuracy of these protective instincts are significantly higher in angel-inhabited households, creating an invisible safety net around the entire family. You've likely experienced this phenomenon but attributed it to intuition or coincidence, yet these moments are sacred conversations between your spirit and your heavenly protector. The fifth sign is sacred objects that remain undisturbed, religious items in your home that seem mysteriously protected even when accidents occur around them. A crucifix that stays firmly mounted during an earthquake, a Bible that remains dry when other books are damaged by a leak, or blessed images that somehow avoid damage when everything around them is affected. Padre Pio taught that guardian angels take special care of consecrated objects, recognizing their spiritual significance even when we might forget it. This protection extends beyond mere physical preservation. These objects often become focal points of unexpected grace in the household. You might notice family members instinctively gathering near these items during difficult times, or find yourself drawn to them when making important decisions. This isn't psychological comfort alone. It's the magnetic presence of angelic guardians who station themselves near sacred objects, creating pockets of heightened spiritual protection within your home. The sixth sign is reconciliation energy, an unusual ability for conflicts to find resolution under your roof. In angel-inhabited homes, arguments that would typically escalate somehow find paths to peaceful resolution. Family members who clash elsewhere manage to communicate more effectively within these walls, and visitors often remark on the harmonious atmosphere. Padre Pio explained that guardian angels actively work to dissolve discord, creating energetic conditions that favor understanding and forgiveness. This reconciliation energy doesn't mean conflicts never arise. Rather, they transform more readily into opportunities for deeper connection. Have you noticed that certain tense family situations somehow resolve themselves in your living room? Or perhaps friends in conflict found common ground while visiting your home? These aren't social coincidences but evidence of angelic mediation, as celestial guardians fulfill their divine mandate to create peace. If you believe these teachings of Padre Pio can transform your home as they have for thousands of others, write in the comments, "My home is ready for angelic protection," and subscribe to the channel to receive more of these sacred revelations. The seventh sign of angelic presence is what Padre Pio called the sanctuary effect, when your home becomes a natural gathering place for those in need of healing or comfort. Without conscious effort on your part, people seeking refuge from life's storms gravitate toward your threshold. Friends call when in crisis, neighbors knock when troubled, and even strangers seem mysteriously directed to your door when they need help. This isn't merely about your hospitality, it's about angelic magnetism. Guardian angels recognize souls in distress and guide them toward places where heavenly protection is strong. You might have wondered why certain individuals appeared in your life at precise moments when you could assist them, or why your home has become an unofficial counseling center for friends and family. Padre Pio would explain that your guardian angel is working in concert with other angels, creating spiritual pathways that lead the wounded to places of divine comfort. This sanctuary effect transforms an ordinary dwelling into holy ground where healing encounters naturally occur. The eighth sign is threshold protection, a mysterious barrier that seems to prevent harmful energies or ill-intentioned people from entering your space. You might notice that certain individuals who cause disruption elsewhere seem oddly subdued when they cross your threshold, or that people with negative intentions find reasons not to enter your home at all. Padre Pio taught that guardian angels stationed in a household create a spiritual perimeter that filters energetic influences, allowing beneficial ones to enter while deterring harmful ones. This protection isn't about keeping people away, but about transmuting negative energies before they can take root in your sacred space. Perhaps you've observed how certain chronic troublemakers in your community avoid your home, or how family gatherings at your house somehow avoid the drama that erupts in other locations. You might have attributed this to coincidence or good planning, but Padre Pio would identify it as angelic threshold protection, celestial guardians standing sentry at your doorways, windows, and property boundaries. The threshold protection extends to more than just human interactions. It affects everything that crosses into your sanctuary. Mail carrying bad news gets mysteriously delayed or lost, while important communications arrive precisely on time. Even the weather seems to respect this boundary at times, with storms somehow lessening their impact as they pass over your property. Padre Pio explained that guardian angels coordinate with elemental forces in ways our limited human understanding cannot grasp, creating protective dynamics that operate at multiple levels simultaneously. This protection doesn't make your home impervious to all challenges. Trials still come as they must for spiritual growth, but it ensures that nothing enters without first passing through angelic discernment. The threshold protection explains why some homes feel instantly safe upon entry, while others, despite beautiful furnishings and perfect decor, never quite feel secure. It's not about locks and alarm systems, but about the invisible gatekeepers who stand watch with fiery swords of divine love. The ninth sign of angelic presence is what Padre Pio described as the phenomenon of found objects, things appearing exactly when needed, often in places you've already checked. The lost key that suddenly materializes on the counter you've searched 3 times, the important document that appears on your desk when you're certain it wasn't there moments ago, the exact tool or ingredient you need surfacing mysteriously when you require it. These aren't mere oversights on your part, but angelic assistance manifesting in physical reality. Guardian angels, those spiritual beings, can interact with material objects in subtle ways that seem miraculous to our limited perception. You might have dismissed these occurrences as absent-mindedness or tricks of memory, but Padre Pio would recognize them as signs of active angelic intervention. This phenomenon occurs with striking frequency in homes where angels dwell, creating an atmosphere where needed things appear with uncanny timing and precision. The 10th and most profound sign is prayer acceleration. Prayers offered within your home seem to manifest their answers with unusual speed and clarity. This doesn't mean every prayer receives an immediate yes, but rather that the communication between earth and heaven flows with exceptional fluidity in angel-inhabited spaces. You might notice that family devotions feel more powerful under your roof, that prayer intentions conceived in your living room find resolution more quickly, or that spiritual insights come with greater clarity when you're praying at home. Padre Pio explained that guardian angels serve as divine messengers, carrying our petitions heavenward with perfect fidelity. In homes where they dwell permanently, this messenger service operates with heightened efficiency and power. The prayer acceleration effect transforms an ordinary household into a miniature sanctuary where heaven and earth meet with special intimacy. This isn't about your worthiness, but about divine grace creating a privileged channel of communication through angelic presence. These 10 signs work together in harmony, creating not just a protected space, but a spiritually vibrant environment where divine grace flows more freely. Padre Pio emphasized that angel-inhabited homes become microcosms of heaven itself, places where spiritual laws operate with greater visibility and impact than in ordinary dwellings. Some of these signs might be more evident in your home than others, for guardian angels respond to the specific needs and spiritual conditions of each household. The stigmatic saint would counsel us not to seek dramatic manifestations, but to notice the subtle patterns of grace that indicate celestial companionship. Even recognizing 1 or 2 of these signs should fill your heart with gratitude, for it means your home has captured heaven's special attention. The angels don't come because we are perfect, but because they are perfectly faithful to God's command to guard and guide us through this earthly journey. Recognizing the signs of angelic presence is just the beginning. Padre Pio also taught specific practices that invite and strengthen this celestial companionship in your home. The first and most fundamental is consecration, the intentional dedication of your living space to divine purposes. This isn't complicated spiritual work, but a sincere prayer offering your home as a dwelling place for heavenly beings. Padre Pio recommended a simple ritual, walking through each room with blessed water or oil, marking the doorposts and windows while inviting angelic presence with specific prayers. This consecration isn't mere symbolism, but a spiritual declaration that heaven recognizes and honors. The angels respond to this invitation not because of elaborate ceremonies, but because of the sincere intention behind them. You might feel a subtle shift in atmosphere immediately after consecration, or changes might unfold gradually over days and weeks, as the angelic presence establishes itself more firmly within your walls. The second practice Padre Pio emphasized was maintaining spiritual hygiene, being mindful about the energies allowed into your home through media, conversations, and activities. Guardian angels thrive in environments that resonate with their own nature and struggle to maintain their presence where discord, impurity, or spiritual darkness is welcomed. This doesn't mean your home must be monastery-like in its austerity, but rather that you cultivate awareness about what spiritual influences cross your threshold. The television programs permitted, the music played, the topics discussed, and even the digital content consumed all contribute to the spiritual atmosphere of your space. Padre Pio would advise periodic spiritual cleansing, removing objects associated with negative experiences, letting go of items that carry painful memories, and being intentional about the artwork and images displayed. These practices aren't superstitious but based on spiritual principles about how energetic resonance affects angelic activity. The third and perhaps most powerful practice is establishing rhythms of prayer that anchor angelic presence. Padre Pio taught that consistent prayer creates a spiritual foundation that supports angelic activity, like establishing a reliable meeting place where heaven and earth can converge regularly. This doesn't require hours of daily devotion, but rather consistency in whatever spiritual practices you choose. A morning blessing, grace before meals, evening prayers before sleep. These rhythmic devotions create reliable channels through which guardian angels can more easily interact with your household. Padre Pio particularly recommended prayers that directly acknowledge and invoke angelic assistance, speaking to these celestial companions as the real, present beings they are. He encouraged families to celebrate the Feast of Guardian Angels, October 2nd, with special devotions, and to mention angels by name in daily prayers. These practices aren't merely about sentiment, but about establishing spiritual partnerships that transform your home into a collaborative space where human and angelic purposes align for divine glory. Even when angels wish to establish their presence in a home, certain conditions can make it difficult for them to remain. Padre Pio identified persistent discord as the first major obstacle, chronic unresolved conflicts that create spiritual static, making angelic communication nearly impossible. Guardian angels don't abandon us during conflicts, but their ability to manifest protective signs diminishes significantly in atmospheres of sustained hostility. This isn't about occasional disagreements, which are natural in any household, but about hardened patterns of bitterness, unforgiveness, or constant criticism that create spiritual barriers to angelic activity. Padre Pio compared this to trying to hear a whispered message in a room filled with shouting. The angel's subtle guidance simply cannot penetrate the emotional noise. If you've noticed a decrease in the signs of angelic presence we've discussed, consider whether unaddressed relational wounds might be creating interference in your home's spiritual atmosphere. The solution isn't surface peacemaking but genuine reconciliation, the kind that brings matters into the light for healing rather than burying them under false harmony. The second obstacle Padre Pio identified was spiritual negligence, the gradual drifting away from practices that once invited and sustained angelic presence. Like a garden left untended, a home's spiritual environment requires consistent care to remain vibrant and receptive to celestial companionship. Perhaps you once maintained regular family prayer, but allowed busyness to erode this practice. Maybe blessed objects once prominently displayed have been relegated to closets or drawers, forgotten in the rush of daily life. or perhaps conversations about faith and spiritual matters, once common in your household, have been replaced entirely by secular concerns. Padre Pio observed that guardian angels never withdraw their protection entirely, but their evident manifestations recede when we cease acknowledging their presence. This spiritual neglect rarely happens dramatically. It's typically a slow fading, a gradual replacement of sacred awareness with mundane preoccupations. The stigmatic saint compared it to a friendship where communication dwindles until the relationship exists more in memory than in lived experience. The third obstacle, perhaps most relevant to modern households, is what Padre Pio called spiritual contradiction, maintaining external religious practices while allowing elements that directly oppose spiritual values. This creates a divided house, where angelic presence struggles to flourish amid conflicting energies. Consider the family that attends religious services faithfully, but permits entertainment glorifying values contrary to their professed beliefs, or the home where prayer begins the day but gossip, slander, or dishonesty are regularly practiced. Padre Pio explained that guardian angels aren't easily offended. They understand human weakness and remain steadfastly compassionate. However, persistent contradiction between professed faith and lived reality creates confusion in the spiritual atmosphere of a home, like trying to drive simultaneously in two directions. The angels' protection remains, but their manifestations become muted, less discernible amid the spiritual static. This obstacle requires honest self-examination, looking for areas where our practices and permissions don't align with the spiritual environment we claim to desire. The solution isn't performative perfection but integrity, bringing our home life into greater harmony with our deepest spiritual values. When you begin to recognize the signs of angelic presence in your home, something remarkable happens. Your awareness itself strengthens and amplifies these divine manifestations. Padre Pio taught that spiritual recognition creates a reciprocal relationship between humans and angels, each responding to the acknowledgement of the other. It's like noticing someone's smile across a crowded room. Your recognition and response naturally deepens the connection, creating a channel for further communication. As you become more attuned to the subtle ways guardian angels interact with your household, their activities become increasingly evident, not because they weren't working before, but because your spiritual senses have awakened to their presence. This growing awareness transforms ordinary moments into sacred encounters. The sudden fragrance that fills a room when no flowers are present. The feeling of being watched over while you sleep. The inexplicable warmth that envelops you during prayer. These experiences, once dismissed as imagination, reveal themselves as the gentle touch of celestial companions who have always been present, but are now acknowledged. This recognition begins to transform not just your perception, but the very atmosphere of your home. Padre Pio observed that households where angelic presence is actively acknowledged develop a distinctive spiritual quality that visitors immediately sense, even if they cannot name it. Colors seem slightly more vibrant within these walls. Conversations naturally turn toward meaningful topics, and time itself seems to flow differently, more gently, less frantically. Your home becomes what spiritual directors call a thin place, a location where the veil between the visible and invisible worlds becomes more permeable, allowing greater flow between heavenly and earthly realms. This transformation doesn't depend on the size or luxury of your dwelling, but on the spiritual attention cultivated within it. A simple apartment mindfully attuned to angelic presence becomes more spiritually potent than a mansion filled with religious objects but lacking in genuine awareness. The stigmatic saint explained that recognition creates spiritual hospitality, a welcoming atmosphere that invites expanded angelic activity. As this transformation deepens, your home begins to affect not just those who live there but everyone who enters. People who visit, even briefly, carry away something of its blessing, a peace that lingers, an inspiration that surfaces later, a subtle healing that begins during their stay. Padre Pio described angel-inhabited homes as spiritual lighthouses, radiating divine influence far beyond their physical boundaries. This influence operates through natural channels, the changed behavior of family members, the distinctive quality of conversations that occur there, The solutions that emerge from problems discussed under your roof. You might notice friends lingering longer than planned, neighbors finding excuses to visit, or strangers expressing unexpected gratitude for brief encounters at your door. What they're responding to, often unconsciously, is the presence of divine messengers who have made your home their outpost. This extension of blessing fulfills one of the core purposes of angelic ministry: to expand heaven's territory within earthly domains, one household at a time, creating networks of divine protection across human communities. The culmination of Padre Pio's teaching on household angels is learning to live in conscious partnership with these celestial guardians, moving beyond passive recognition to active collaboration. This partnership begins with direct communication, speaking aloud to your guardian angel throughout your day, acknowledging their presence not just during formal prayer, but in ordinary moments. Padre Pio himself maintained constant conversation with angels, asking their assistance with specific tasks, seeking their guidance before making decisions, and thanking them for protections recognized and unrecognized. This ongoing dialogue isn't mystical fantasy, but practical spiritual reality, recognizing that you share your home with intelligent, loving beings who are constantly attentive to your needs. The stigmatic saint recommended simple practices: greeting your guardian angel each morning, consulting them before leaving the house, thanking them upon safe return, and bidding them good night before sleep. These brief acknowledgments establish a rhythm of awareness that deepens over time into intuitive communion. The partnership extends beyond communication to cooperation, intentionally working with angelic guidance rather than around it or against it. Padre Pio taught that guardian angels often provide intuitive warning before danger, creative solutions during challenges, and inspired direction during confusion. But these gifts must be received and acted upon to bear fruit. When you feel a sudden impulse to call someone, check on a family member, or delay a planned journey, consider whether this might be angelic guidance requiring your cooperation. This collaborative relationship grows stronger with practice, as you learn to distinguish between ordinary thoughts and angelic promptings. The stigmatic saint advised testing these impressions against spiritual wisdom and common sense, for guardian angels never contradict divine law or lead us toward harm. Yet he also encouraged holy boldness in following clear angelic direction, even when it seems unnecessary or inconvenient. Countless stories from Padre Pio's life demonstrate how seemingly small acts of obedience to angelic promptings prevented disasters or opened unexpected paths of blessing. The deepest level of partnership involves allowing your guardian angel to fulfill their ultimate purpose, guiding you and your household toward spiritual transformation. Angels aren't merely celestial bodyguards, but divine pedagogues, teaching through subtle influences and orchestrated circumstances. Padre Pio explained that household angels particularly focus on creating conditions that nurture virtue and discourage vice, always respecting human freedom while maximizing opportunities for growth. You might notice that certain spiritual lessons seem to arise repeatedly in your home, the same virtue being tested through different situations, or the same vice being exposed through various triggers. These aren't random patterns but carefully crafted curriculum, designed by loving celestial tutors who see your divine potential more clearly than you see it yourself. True partnership means embracing these lessons with grateful awareness, cooperating with the spiritual education being offered through everyday household experiences. When you recognize your home as both sanctuary and school, protected and supervised by angelic intelligence, ordinary domestic life reveals itself as extraordinary spiritual journey, each day an opportunity to walk in closer companionship with heaven while still on earth.